So let's go from the far side, and if you can just introduce yourself, say who you are, what film you're with, and verify that you're young enough to participate in Nifty.
I'm Jessica Carlson. I'm a producer on Davis Out of the Unknown. And yes, I am young enough in soul.
I'm Claire. I'm one of the directors of Davis Out of the Unknown. And yes, confirmed.
I'm Alex, the other director of Davis Out of the Unknown. I'm getting up there, but I think I'm still pretty young to participate, so yeah.
I'm Jacob. I wrote and directed half.
I'm Thomas. I directed Busan 1999, the last one.
Kudos. Now, for all of you, is this your first opportunity to see the film on the big screen? Have you been able to show it with other audiences elsewhere yet?
I mean, this is the first screening we've had for Davis. We literally just began the festival run, so it was great watching it with all of you. It was really special.
This is the first screening that I've been able to attend of the film, so it's the first time I've seen it up there and with an audience. It's played a couple other places, but this is the first time I've been in attendance.
Yeah, same here. It's the first time seeing it on the big screen. It's very different from the computer.
I would hope so. I mean, in fairness, if you have a computer screen that is that big, I'm very, very envious. Also kind of concerned about how big your house must be. But let's turn it out to the audience for some questions. There are no dumb questions unless I say so, so by all means, don't be shy.
What was it like directing and starring in your movie?
It was challenging, but it was a lot of, luckily I had a lot of people that I was working with whose opinions I really trusted. It was a lot of my producer sort of holding up the monitor for me so I could try to move my, look with my eyes but not my head so I could see what the shot looked like. Yeah, I mean, it was hard and, but I felt also like I could just kind of feel like when, I didn't watch playback that much of my own performance because I could just feel like, oh yeah, I need to do that again, need to do that again, need to do that again, do that. Oh, we're good.
Yeah, for Thomas, what was it like shooting in Korea? I'm just curious the process and how many days you shot, what it was like, how it was different than perhaps shooting in America.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Joe. He's a friend. Yeah, I mean, it was a really ambitious shoot. We didn't have a first AD because I don't know why, but so that became a really big problem and a big learning, something I learned. It was shot over 1.5 days for like a 14-page script, I think. Yeah, it was intense. And like water work, like all that stuff, it was hard. And like in a country that I've never shot before, in Korea, there's like no permits. Like anything under like $1 million, there's no paperwork, there's no legal stuff, there's no union, nothing. So it's just like, you call up an actor and they're like, okay, and all the crew, and they're like, okay, I'm free, and then you just cross your fingers that they show up that day. So it was just kind of like putting my trust in like a producer, the producers, and they weren't anyone like well known either. They were just kind of like figuring it out as we went. It was like very low budget and stuff. So it was just kind of like figuring it out. I was actually in Korea for like a vacation. Like my family went there for vacation, and like while I was there, I was like, oh, might as well film something, So we just did, yeah.
1.5 days, that's
Wait,
nuts.
so that was just on the fly. You were just like, oh, well, I'm already going to be here. Why not?
Use the location, right.
Wow. That is like the best use of spring break that I think I've ever heard of. Most people would go to Cancun and not remember. They might make a movie, by the way. But that would be for Hump Day, which is another Seattle-based film festival. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm curious for all the filmmakers filmmakers what you have coming up next. What's the next project we can see from you?
Please, go for it. Go first.
So we're working on, this is the beginning of our festival run for Davis Out of the Unknown, and we're hoping to really increase visibility for Coulon-de-Brie syndrome. And the scientific community for rare diseases is so fragmented, so we're leaning on this film to help galvanize scientists and also just increase awareness in general. So the scientist that discovered the disorder is super pumped about the film, and he's been showing it to different scientists. So we're also hoping to get this into the hands of more families so parents can also learn more about the disorder, because kids are often misdiagnosed. So more and more children are having Coulon-de-Brie syndrome, but the parents have to become advocates for the disorder. And we're lucky that my cousins are privileged and they're doctors and they're able to speak to that, but so many parents don't have the language to talk about their children's disabilities and disorders. So really hoping to push for a cure. And I'm also going to be supporting and cheering on my teammates here. Alex and Claire are phenomenal filmmakers, clearly. So I'm going to be working on another film with Alex, and then Claire, let me know when you're ready for the next thing.
Yeah, we're very excited to continue going to the festivals and stuff and see where it takes us. But for now, lots of writing, trying to wrap up on a feature writing. But yeah, that's kind of. And then freelance directing.
Currently in pre-production for a horror short, so looking forward to that, yeah.
I'm in the early stages of writing a feature, and also I have a TV series that I'm developing that's sort of loosely based around the same story that this short is based around. So if any of you run a streaming service or a major television network, hit me up.
I came here a few years ago with another short film called C, and now we're turning that into a feature. We're actually launching this thing called a WeFunder next week, which is basically like Kickstarter, but instead of donation-based, it's equity-based. So basically, anyone can become an investor in the film and make percentages on it and make money on it if the movie makes money on it. And so if you're curious about that, want to become a film investor, then let me know after the screening, because I can give you the link.
And how much are you hoping to raise?
We're trying to raise minimum $350K with the help of Jim Cummings, a filmmaker, and then gap finance up to $1 million by sometime soon.
Does everyone in the audience, or most people in the audience, know who Jim Cummings is? Yeah? Thunder Road, the short, is one of my all-time favorite shorts, which he ultimately made into a feature. And if you get the chance, I highly recommend watching it. Now, let's see. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, on the far side. Yes.
What was the most challenging part of making each of your films?
I mean, I think for us, it was just the fact that, we had, no prep time. We got an email from Jess inviting us to North Carolina to, go meet Davis and kind of shoot a snippet of his life. And we were all for it, except she said that we would have to hop on a flight in a week and a half. So kind of the prep time was split between Zoom calls and me and Claire just trying our best to assemble as much research as we could. But I think that also kind of became an advantage because we got to meet the family in real time, and Davis is just a really amazing kid. And he just has this really infectious presence. And I don't know, I don't want to get emotional. But
I think, too, going along with not having a lot of prep time is the family there wasn't a lot of time for the family to get used to us, which was a bit intimidating to go into the doc with. And one of our biggest concerns was making sure that they were at ease and they felt like they could be very honest and very truthful in front of us. luckily, Davis, it took him about 5 seconds to get over that, and then we were best friends. So that was definitely a bit of a hurdle, but we just spent a lot of time off camera. You can kind of see there's one shot where Alex and I are in the background at the beach. We just kind of hung out with them at every opportunity we could, just to really make sure they're at ease with us.
I would say the edit was the most challenging thing for me. I don't know why, but it took me a very, very long time, and there were a lot of moments where I was like, I can't do this. Yeah, but it came together eventually, so.
For me, the hardest part was just navigating the Korean film industry, and how that works, because there kind of isn't one. So everyone's just kind of figuring it out, and just dealing with like the logistics of all that was a nightmare. Having people drop out last minute. We initially cast. The grandmother was supposed to be like this veteran Korean actress. She's like the most famous. Veteran old actress, and then she got injured last minute and then had to drop out, and dealing with her managers was such a pain in the ass. Because they're all very traditional, they're very old. Some people work very differently, and just figuring that all out, and having to direct in Korean and having a translator. And I'm working in a country where I literally know no one. Everyone on that crew, everyone on that set was just blue email, cold called, and it was just. Tricky.
Yeah, filming in another country can be a challenge. Next time, go to Wilmington, North Carolina, maybe. If you're not going to make a documentary, it is where they shot Dawson's Creek, if you're old enough to remember that. Or more recently, One Tree Hill. So I'm sure there's lots of Wilmington crew that if you give them union contracts, will happily give you their time, and then your budget will be $350,000 for your short. Never mind your feature. We've got time for one more question. Yes.
I have a question for Thomas, and that is, how did you come up with the script and the story, and where did that originate? And you had a very short time while you were there.
Yeah. I wish I could ask all of you guys how that story how your guys' stories came about. But for me, I go to USC, so I left home in Boston to come to LA and go to school, and I just felt really guilty. I just felt like I was leaving back my parents, who are, who can't really speak English, who are just at home all day, don't really have friends. I felt like I was just leaving them and abandoning them to go to school and have fun, meet friends, have fun, hang out with, people. And I don't know, that just all that guilt and all that sadness, I guess, depression, all those feelings. I just felt like maybe my parents felt those when they left Korea to come back home, to come to America, and we started talking about that, and they were initially thinking of moving back to Korea with my little brother, because they wanted to spend time with my grandparents, before they passed away. And so actually, they didn't decide to move, but they decided to visit every year. And so last year was the first time we visited in a decade. And so we went back to Korea, and that was a very unique experience. And so this film is kind of meta because it's kind of dealing with the same things that my parents were dealing with at the same time, and that I was witnessing, and that I felt going to college, which is why, I wrote it and then, made it.
Bravo, and I think we'll give the same question to the other filmmakers, because we've got a fiction film, a half-fiction film, and a documentary film.
My story was roughly autobiographical, so just based on personal experience.
Honestly, for us, Jess can probably answer that best. Jess is cousins with Davis, so take it away.
Okay, cool. So my cousin contacted me after she'd submitted to this competition for rare diseases, and she got in. She's like, all right, they want me to make a 5-minute film. Can you help me? Because I know you're in film. And I was like, oh my God, we got to go all the way. And so I contacted Claire and Alex with Lizzie, one of my collaborators, and we had worked together before, and I was like, I trust Alex and Claire so much. And I think Davis really opening up to them is just a testament to how they are as filmmakers, and they galvanize a whole team of incredible people who are here tonight too, that, and they just create such a safe set, and it makes me so excited about the future of Hollywood, and I think why we're all together is like, we can create the Hollywood that we want to see, and we can create sets that don't have above the line, below the line, and it's just really inspiring to see not only, what you created on the screen, but also like the team that you created, and everyone was an equal and everyone brought themselves to the table. So having worked with them before, I was like, damn, like I need to work with Alex and Claire. And they filmed this, we only had 2 days, we quickly raised money, and because we had a deadline for this National Health Summit focused on diversity, equity, inclusion in rare diseases. And then it was like, let's go all the way, let's see if we can really go to a bigger audience. So they just, are incredible teammates. I'm just so pumped that they said yes.
Bravo, and let's give a round of applause.
Sorry, could I get a shout out to my friends and their family? They all came out here and are so supportive. They literally have made me who I am. From the composers to just like all my friends, literally would not be here
From
and be who I am.
Boston, from South Korea, from Los Angeles.
From Los Angeles and beyond, yeah.